Hi, my name is Philip Tyson. I'm the CEO of AGI Group. And today we're going to show you how to install a Bella double-door retractable screen. The particular type of installation is going to be an inside mount. I've got Lewis here, who is the DIY installer. And if Lewis will show up, this is Lewis. He's never installed the screen before, so you're going to be in the same position he is today. First thing we're going to do, just real quick, is show you how to measure. This is the important part of your job as a customer. And the first thing we want to do is point out that you're going to have to measure these things in 3 different places. So you measure the width at the bottom. Go ahead, let's show them how you measure. Measure there, and then at the midpoint, and then near the top. And then we want to know the smallest dimension. If you give us the largest dimension, that's how we're going to fabricate your screen. And if there's a significant difference between the shortest and the longest dimension, you may not be able to install the screen without some further adjustments. Same thing will be true on the height. You want to measure the height on both ends and the center, and we want that smallest number. Okay. This particular opening was chosen because it has an unusual, I won't say an unusual, it's a normal situation people run into when they're doing installations. If you notice here, we have some returning trim at the bottom, and we're going to be installing the screen right in this area here. So this has to be removed. So we're going to give Lewis an opportunity to remove the trim from his door, just as you would when you're installing your screen. Okay, Lewis is taking that piece off. Okay, Lewis is removing the second piece of trim. Now we're going to save these pieces of trim because we're going to make everything look nice and finished when we're done here. So now you can see we have a nice flush surface to mount the screen on, and it'll be a nice clean installation when we're finished. All right, our next step is to install the housing on the passive side. Now, passive side, French doors generally have one door that is commonly used. You can open them both, and certainly you can do that with the screens, but we always like to install the passive side screen housing first, and we'll show you why later. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and mark, and all you do is take the end cap, and we're using a Sharpie today just to make a mark so he knows where to drill the holes for the mounting screws. And he'll do that at the bottom, and then he'll do the same thing up the top. And the same thing will be done on the other side. It'll just be the reverse of that. Okay, Lewis is now drilling a hole. These holes are going to be used to permanently mount the end caps, and we'll do it at the top as well as the bottom. Okay, he's inserting the second molly. Thank you, Lewis. And we're going to go ahead and start this screwing with a regular screw gun. But I want to caution you that if you tighten it too tight, you don't want to over tighten it. That's, I guess, the question. So we generally suggest that at the very end, the last few turns are done by a regular screw gun, and then you're not likely to over tighten it. Very good. Okay, we mounted the bottom end cap, and we're pre-drilled already for the upper cap. And now we're going to go ahead and put the housing in. It's just an insert into the cap. Okay, now Lewis is going to put, there's the tension spring on the very top. This tension spring will only go on one end. The other end doesn't have a place for it, so you can't really make a mistake. And then he'll put the end cap on, and this will provide the tension in the opening between the end cap and the housing. And then he'll put the screws in to hold it in place. Now he's just putting in a screw to secure the top mount. Again, you want to be careful you don't over tighten. Nothing like a good old hand screwdriver. And the next step is to install the upper and lower tracks. One thing I want to point out here, this is a stop for the passive side door. And this flat edge has got to be toward the passive side. So this is the upper one, and that's the way it will go in. There's the bottom one, and we've kind of got it set in place here. And Lewis is going to go ahead and install that now. So we're doing this a little bit different than the instructions call for because of this trim issue here. We knew we had to put the bottom one in first, otherwise we never could have swung it in to clear the trim piece there. But you can do it either way. You can install the top one or the bottom one first, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. He's going to just mark the 2 holes for attaching that to the floor. You'll notice this is a marble floor, and we're using a masonry bit to drill. You may have wood, you may have metal, you may have tile, but it's all pretty simple to drill. There's no magic to it. He's using a hammer drill. A lot of our customers don't have those, and a regular drill will work. It'll take a little bit longer to make the hole. This is putting the 2 mollies in place, and he's just ready now to go ahead and put the screws in and attach the lower track permanently. You notice the end cap is already on the track. So we're getting close to being finished. And you notice he's using a can gun again. I don't think it's as necessary on this as it is on the passive side, because we've got a metal piece there that's a little more substantial than the piece that's on the end cap. Okay, we've already pre-drilled this top track. I wanted to show you there's a key that comes with the kit. And when you go to drill it, this will be your guide to make sure that you get the holes drilled in the exact right place, just so you know. And then your end cap will fit right into it, and everything will line up perfectly. Okay, Lewis is putting the tension spring in place. It's on the bottom this time than this. And again, it can only go on one end. There's only the end cap one end cap has all. Going to go ahead and insert that. Make sure it's all the way down. Then the top track is slid over into the receptacle on the passive housing. Then he just leans the housing out enough to get everything lined up. Put the cap on, compresses it. And slides it into place. Now we've already pre-drilled the screws, and now comes the next step of installing those. But we have to do something else first to give you enough room to get at where the screws are going to be pulled in. Now, Lewis, if you just pull those together. And let the magnetic catch hold it together. If that works, there'll be some adjustments as we go along here. Okay, now the screen is in the used position, so now we can get at where the screws need to go. So the next step is to go ahead and use the screws to do the cut. Okay, we're installing the last 2 screws that hold the primary part of the screen together. to make sure that we had access to those holes, I mentioned earlier that we brought these screen surfaces together. And what we had to do is get the passive side locked in place. So what we did is we brought these latches together, top and bottom. That holds this one in place so that he could go ahead and do what he had access to where the screws were up there. Okay, we're just about finished. Okay, our screen's pretty much installed. I'm going to demonstrate the locking system for the passive door. That locks that in place. Then you can pull it across. It latches with a full-length magnetic catch. So if your dog or your youngin wants to try to get out, and you've got a nice secure screen to prevent that from happening. We have a very deep bottom track, which is something that many of the screens don't have. Granted, it requires you to step over it, but without it, you basically have a useless screen. If you don't have a good bottom track, then all the little critters that you're trying to prevent from getting out will get in. Anytime the wind blows a little bit, it'll pop right out. So if you are out looking for a screen, you don't want one that doesn't have a bottom track or has a very, very shallow bottom track. That's the worst situation you can do. By having this double magnetic catch here, we're able to provide a considerable amount of tension to the screen. Other screens where they have just a short magnetic catch or just a very small mechanical catch, those are susceptible to popping loose. If somebody bumps up against it or accidentally hits it with something, they'll just come loose and you'll have the screen retracting on you when you don't want it to retract. There's another issue with that too. You can't put much tension on a screen like that because if you do, it won't stay locked together at all. So those are just a couple of pointers I want to point out to you. Now, to release this, there's a little bit of a trick. You pull the pull bar away from you, and then that releases it. Now, we've installed the clutch in this one, and you can see it retracts in a slow, even fashion. You know, we've tried this many, many times without the clutch, and it works, and a lot of people have no problem with it. But I'll give you an example. We deliberately left the clutch out of this side just to demonstrate what happens if somebody accidentally lets it go. That's what happens if you don't have the clutch. So we feel that's a very good piece. We're going to take this down and put the clutch back in when we're finished here. But I just wanted to demonstrate to you how effective that is in the screening process. One other point I want to make, a lot of people ask me, well, I have big knobs that stick out. Well, the knobs really aren't a consideration because the only time the screen is in place is when your door is open. So the knobs are, as you can see right here, have nothing to do with the screen at all. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and finish the trim pieces now, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and bring this part across so we can demonstrate the spring of the magnetic catch. And you can see how slowly and nicely the clutch retracts the screen. Well, the screen installation is finished. I just want to point out that we retrimmed. We used the old trim, cut down, and put it right back in place, and it made it look like a very custom installation. Very professional, done by a DIY installer. The screen speaks for itself. The clutch we've already demonstrated. And we want all of you to feel comfortable in knowing that you'll get the best screen on the market when you order your Bella screen. By the way, you'll get a complete set of instructions, installation instructions with every one of your screens, and we're always available if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you with all of your experiences on your Bella screen after you get it installed. Thank you very much.